Good morning, welcome back to another episode of HardFoul Radio. This is the show that values time and puts God first. Let's get into it. So I said something a few weeks ago, and it got people upset on the internet at me, and it was in regards to Joe Burrow and how I don't view him with the other quarterbacks, and part of that is him not making the playoffs. And it probably came off critical of, I don't think Joe's a superstar, or I don't think Joe's as good as Lamar, or good as Josh Allen. And even if that were to be true, I want to say something today. I think we actually need to remove Joe Burrow out of the top four conversation, not as a sign of disrespect to Joe Burrow, but it should actually be a letter of endearment and our condolences to Joe Burrow, who's probably never going to have the accolades in career that he should have otherwise. Look, man, the Cincinnati Bengals just might be too dysfunctional. Colin used to say this all the time, Colin Cowherd, that real great franchise quarterbacks, what truly separates them is they handle the dysfunction. They come into a situation, you're normally a top draft pick, there's normally not a good roster, there's normally issues with ownership or coaches or management, however you want to put it, and they come in and they pierce through that, and they're this amazing star, and they're the shining diamond in a bunch of crap. Joe Burrow is 1,000% the shining diamond in a bunch of crap. It's him, Chase, T. Higgins, and a bunch of, let's see what happens. And the Bengals, who, yes, did get to a Super Bowl, which is going to be maybe his most crowning achievement, is that he got to a Super Bowl in his second year of starting. That's incredible. We're going to look back and go, you got, the way we talk about LeBron James teams, and we always go back to the 2007 Cavs, and we're like, you got them to a finals? We're going to look back on that same thing with Joe Burrow and go, you got the Bengals to the Super Bowl? Whoa. Here's the thing. The Bengals are great at one thing, and it's directly attached to Joe Burrow. They can throw the hell out of the ball. They've got two great receivers. Their passing game is amazing. They are going to set records. They are going to score a lot of points. They're going to do a lot of things. And this is a team that previously had Carson Palmer, Chad Johnson, TJ Houshmandzadeh, a great quarterback, two receiver set. And these guys are even better. No disrespect to Chad Johnson, but these guys are even better. Or TJ or Carson. These guys are incredible, right? The Bengals, though, just can't get out of their own way. Here's the biggest problem. We know what the Bengals are great at. Throwing the ball, scoring points. Awesome. That then should mean the only thing you got to do is just draft defenders. I think this is simple enough that anybody could do it. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to understand the sport very well. You're already great on offense. Your guy's an offense coordinator. Just draft defensive guys because your defense is probably never going to be elite. But if you just get to average with that offense, you're going to have a chance to win games. So what do the Bengals do? Well, of course, because of the Bengals, they piss off the one guy who they had to re-sign who was clearly their best defensive player. Don't want to pay him. Don't want to do anything with him. Now he's going to sit out, and your best defensive player, don't have him on an already historically bad defense. But don't worry, we planned for that because we drafted Shamar Stewart, and he's going to be our Oh, we're not going to sign him too. Okay. And then the owner comes out, and maybe this is his age, maybe this is out of touch. Older people sometimes can be out of touch with currently how things are going in society if they don't keep up. And he goes, actually the thing is, what we don't like is we don't want to have guaranteed money or pay guaranteed money for guys who do stuff contract detrimental to the team. Listen, Mr. Brown, and you have, by the numbers, you have made way more money in your life. You have had a more successful life than me. Cool. Guaranteed money, what the NFLPA goes through with players' contracts. That's when those things are hashed out. You don't publicly. Owners had a hell of a day between what Jerry Jones said about Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott yesterday and what Mr. Brown said about how he wants to be able to basically take guaranteed money away from guys. Imagine what athlete wants to come play for your team in the most violent sport on the planet, and you're like, I don't even want to pay guaranteed money. I want to be able to revoke your guaranteed money. And he tried to hide it behind this whole, well, contract detrimental to the team, or if they're sitting in prison. What? A, you have to be culturally smart enough to not make that attachment, especially with the type of athletes that you have. Secondly, you don't mess with someone's guaranteed money, especially when it's something like a rookie contract, which is scaled and is already as preset gets. There was the second round conundrum this year, where, because they gave a fully guaranteed to a second rounder, all the other second rounders like, oh, well, we want fully guaranteed too. And guess what? It was weird for a few weeks, and then everybody started getting their second round pick signed. They just said, okay, cool. This is our norm. Boom, 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 boom. We'll deal with it. We'll move on. And if they want to fight it, the other owners are smart enough to go, we'll fight it when negotiations come back up. Because you guys want something, well, we want something too. And you have Joe Burrow, who is amazing. Again, people thought I was being critical because I didn't want to compare him to Lamar. I didn't want him in the same group as Lamar Allen and Mahomes. Now, it's a sympathy reason why I don't want him in that category, because he's never going to have a chance to truly compete in the same fashion that they do. The Chiefs, great owners, really smart GM, great head coach. Their ownership and management levels are what allow Mahomes, who is already extraordinary, to be even bigger and to be even better. The Bills, since Josh Allen's been there, McDermott, their GM, I'm blanking on his name, I apologize, and ownership, they have been A+. They are figuring it out, even doing some tweaks here, tweaks there, getting Josh Allen the team that he needs to compete. And Lamar, we all know how well the Ravens are run historically. And then there's Joe Burrow, who has horrible defense. He goes, hey guys, I just give me a little bit of help. Yes, they signed their top two receivers, and Joe was also a part of that. But knowing that's where the majority of your money goes, just go, hey, there's other teams that can sign 3 or 4 big contracts. Look at the Eagles. Look at what the Rams are doing, especially non-quarterback contracts, because there's a huge difference when it's like, okay, I got to pay the quarterback who makes exponentially more money than everybody else on the team versus I got to pay my top receiver, my top pass rusher. Pay those guys. That's what Joe's asking. And he says, look, and defensively, we'll figure it out, because I'm telling you, I think I can get you 30-plus points. So let's just draft defenders. Let's get some low-end free agents, guys that we can get on cheap deals. And here we are. The Cincinnati Bengals, despite having a guy who's a consensus top 5 quarterback, number 1 overall pick, a guy who a lot of people, this is why people said before the draft process started, he should not want to go to Cincinnati. Not because, you've always got to go to a bad team. Some teams are worse than others. And what the Bengals are doing is setting a precedent for why would anybody who's not drafted there, who doesn't have the power to move themselves out, why would anyone want to go there? Now you're also messing with someone's guaranteed money as well? Insane. Moving on from there to another thing about money and people that like to be weird. So the WNBA, their players came out in an all-star game and they said, pay us what you owe us. And of course, whenever it's somebody else's money, whether paying or trying to be earned, everybody has their own opinions and everybody becomes an accountant. And it's amazing. If you say, I want to raise the internet, all is full of accountants. Well, actually, this is what your company made. First off, the company being able to turn a profit is not on the employees. Now, this is why the company is allowed to let go of employees if they don't make a profit or they go out of business. So don't tell me the WNBA has never turned a profit in the history of its life. I don't care. That's not what they're talking about. The reality of these contracts is really simple. The previous deal, they are about to go 5 times their TV deal. They're going to have a $200 million deal. This is an investment. If your investment in 6 years, just hypothetically, use 5-year sample, for the 5 years, doesn't make any money, and then on year 5, boom, it just happens, and now you're making a lot of money, you're not going to not continue to pay for the investment. It's working now. The WNBA, yes, it has never turned a profit. Cool. But it's on the other side of that. There is more money coming in, this huge TV deal. And all they're saying is, hey, we're the reason why you're getting that huge TV deal. And whether you want to be, and because it just invites the worst people on the internet, I'm not here to do Caitlyn versus everybody else. But the reality is, if you're Kelsey Plum, you're Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, you are Nafisha Collier, like, you are a part of the greatness of this league, yeah, you're damn right. You deserve to get paid more. They make 9% of the WNBA revenue right now that goes to the players. And I don't think at their heart of hearts, they're not asking to be paid like the NBA guys. They're not asking to get $50 million contracts, $40 million contracts. But can we get like Asia Wilson, who was a multiple-time MVP, one of the best players in the history of your sport? Can we get to where she is living a true athlete experience, which is this high-end thing she has committed her body to and committed her time and created this craft? Can she get paid like a professional athlete? That's all they're asking for. Doesn't matter if they've never turned a profit. That's not what this is about. There is more money coming in. They have every right to ask and go, hey, where's my piece? We're the reason this is happening. And to all the people that are like making memes out of the whole Angel Reese, oh, we'll sit out. Yeah, that's what you do in labor negotiations. You don't want to pay us what we believe we are worth in correspondence to the X amount of income and new revenue coming into this place of business or sport. We don't go to work. It's real simple. I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest and most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.